Okay, so I am officially declaring, like, a total state of emergency right now.
Oh my gosh, wait, what has happened?
I mean, the entire Bravo universe is just completely off the rails. Like, the asylum is officially running the reality television landscape, and honestly, someone needs to start an emergency GoFundMe for Britney's bank account immediately.
Oh, 100%. It is a financial and emotional crisis of like epic proportions.
Right. So today, we are tearing into part one of the Valley reunion. But, this isn't just a recap of who yelled at who.
No, absolutely not.
We are going to decode exactly how reality TV villains just, like, completely evade accountability and how social media burner accounts have totally shattered the fourth wall.
It is basically a masterclass in PR manipulation at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I hope you, our favorite Snark Squad member, are seated right now. Like, I hope you are relaxed, and I really hope you have your beverage ready, because I have poured us the most aggressively spicy watermelon margaritas.
Oh, thank goodness. Emotional support beverages are strictly non-negotiable tonight.
Strictly. So, cheers to surviving another brutal work week.
Cheers to that margarita, honestly. And babes, welcome back. We love you, we see you, and honestly, if our lives had reunion cameras following us around, I feel like the producers would have enough footage for a 3-part special just from our group chats alone.
Oh, easily a 4-part special, let's be real.
Truly, like, tequila is the only thing keeping me grounded right now, because this week has been a profound test of my sheer will to exist in modern society.
Okay, well, we are definitely going to get into the absolute unmitigated disaster that is this reunion couch in a second. But before we diagnose the profound psychological failings of these reality stars, we obviously need a life update.
Yes.
Because honestly, the underlying theme of this week, both on television and literally in my apartment, is realizing that things that look completely functional on the outside are actually rotting from the inside.
Oh, that is ominous. Wait, what does that mean?
I will get to it, but first, let's talk about current vibes. Are we still pretending we like Pilates, or have we finally admitted it's just a torture chamber?
Barely pretending. I am clinging to my Pilates routine by a single, frayed, aggressively stretched thread at this point.
Same man, it's so bad.
I went to a class on Tuesday morning, right? And the instructor was talking about like lengthening through the crown of the head to find your inner truth.
Ugh, the inner truth talk.
I can't. And I was literally just lying there calculating the exact logistics of faking my own death and moving to a remote island. Like, I don't want inner truth. I just want a nap.
I felt that in my soul. I was on the reformer yesterday, shaking like a leaf in a hurricane, just staring at the ceiling thinking, where are the sugar daddies?
Seriously, where are they?
Because I have looked left, I have looked right, I have audited my social circles, and there are absolutely zero sugar daddies in sight. We are out here financing our own lives like absolute peasants, which is utterly exhausting.
It's a tragic reality. And speaking of the tragedy of modern romance, I have officially quit online dating.
Wait, again?
Again. For the millionth time. It is a barren wasteland out there.
I mean, men are trash.
They really are. I am retiring from the sport of trying to extract a single ounce of decent conversation from a man holding a dead fish in his profile picture. Like, the apps are just a digital Rolodex of disappointment.
Yep. I fully deleted Hinge on Wednesday.
Oh, you did? What was the final straw?
Okay, so a guy messaged me, completely unprompted, and asked if I wanted to go on a hiking date for a first meetup.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Right. Sir, let's unpack this. Do I look like the kind of woman who wants to sweat off her setting spray in the absolute wilderness with a stranger who might, I don't know, push me off a cliff for a true crime plot?
Honestly, it's a huge safety risk.
Absolutely not. The mechanism of a first date is supposed to be a controlled environment with clear exits. Like, I want a dimly lit cocktail bar, a spicy margarita, and a bouncer within eye contact.
Exactly. You need witnesses.
But honestly, what really ruined my schedule this week wasn't even the audacity of men. It was a household appliance. And this perfectly ties into that theme of hidden rot I mentioned earlier.
Oh, no. What catastrophic adulting realization did you have this time?
Okay, so we have to talk about the newest horrific adult responsibility that I discovered this week. The kind of realization that just shatters the illusion of your own independence.
I am terrified. Go on.
You know how washing machines clean your clothes, right? Like, you put dirty things in and clean things come out. That is the social contract we have with the machine.
Yes, that is the literal functional mechanism of a washing machine.
Did you know that you have to clean the washing machine?
Wait, what?
Like, you have to actively clean the thing whose sole purpose is cleaning?
Are you serious?
Yes. I opened the door of my front loader, right? And I pulled back that gray rubber seal around the door, and there was Mildew. Thick, dark, aggressive mildew.
Oh my gosh, ew.
I almost passed out on the tile floor. I literally spent 3 hours on a Tuesday night watching YouTube tutorials on how to deep clean a washing machine with baking soda, white vinegar, and an old toothbrush.
No way.
3 hours?
Yes. I felt so profoundly betrayed. Like, it looked totally fine on the outside, but right beneath the surface, it was toxic.
Yeah.
Just like a reality TV marriage.
Oh, wow. That is the ultimate betrayal of adulthood. And honestly, it's the perfect metaphor.
It really is.
You think you have it all together because you buy organic spinach, you pay your rent on time, you do your laundry, and then a major household appliance just humbles you into the dust by revealing its hidden decay.
I am still traumatized.
Well, you have to clean the dishwasher filter too, by the way. It traps all the old food. I'm just letting you know before you have a secondary crisis.
Wait, the dishwasher has a filter?
Oh my God. See, this is exactly why I am actively avoiding my own house right now.
You're just fleeing the scene.
Literally. I am overthinking the plumbing, the vents, the filters in my apartment, and my avoidance strategy is just leaving the premises as much as physically possible to avoid confronting the infrastructure. What are you obsessing over this week to avoid reality?
Okay, so my current obsession is incredibly bizarre, but it speaks to the state of humanity. I am obsessing over the fact that I actually had a good time outside of work this week interacting with a complete stranger.
Wait, a stranger? You? I know. I was at the grocery store, and this older woman came up to me in the produce section and just started venting about how expensive bell peppers are.
Oh, they are so expensive right now.
Right. We had a full 15-minute bonding session over the absolute economic audacity of a $2 red pepper.
That is so pure.
It was the purest interaction I've had all month. Just two citizens furious at inflation standing over the vegetables.
That is beautiful. I love a grocery store bond. It's so grounding. But okay, speaking of interactions, we need to do our weekly highs and lows of the work week, dental office edition.
Oh, yes, we do.
Because, as you know, and as we've shared with you listening at home, we are both dentists at different clinics. And this week was absolutely unhinged.
Unhinged is the word.
You go first. Set the clinical scene. What was your high?
Okay, my high. Easily the funniest patient interaction of the entire month. I had a patient in the chair and we were doing a crown prep.
Okay, heavy stuff.
Yeah, and she's completely numb. The local anesthesia has totally frozen her lower mandible. Half her face is drooping. She has the high volume suction in her mouth. The cotton rolls wedged in her cheeks. The full isolation setup.
I can picture it perfectly.
And she is desperately, frantically trying to spill tea about her neighbor's incredibly messy divorce to me and my assistant.
Oh my God, the dedication.
I mean, she's literally slurring, going like, and then they found out he was at the motel.
No, she didn't.
She did. And I'm looking at her holding a drill spinning at 400,000 RPM saying, ma'am, please, for the love of everything, do not move your tongue right now.
That is amazing.
But she was just so committed to the gossip, like the sheer human need to transmit scandalous information totally overrode her basic survival instincts. My assistant and I were crying, laughing in the sterilization room afterward.
That is the level of dedication to Snark that we respect and honor on this show. Even profound local anesthesia cannot stop the tea from spilling. It's physiological.
Truly. What was your high?
My high was actually deeply clinical. I did a molar endo, so a root canal on a second molar that had these crazy, delacerated, curved roots.
Oof, those are the worst.
Right. Normally, those are a total nightmare to navigate with the files, but it went so smoothly. I looked at the final radiograph, and the fill was just so perfect, so beautifully curved to the apex. I honestly felt like a minor deity. It was a literal masterpiece.
We love a perfectly filled canal. It's basically the closest thing to modern art we get to experience in our daily lives.
It really is.
But what about the lows? Because I know you had a rough week, and I need to know who tested your spirit.
Oh, the low was Thursday. It was the most exhausting, back-to-back, physically draining day of my life.
I hate those days.
I had double-booked hygiene checks, 2 walk-in emergencies, and then the absolute kicker. A patient situation that deeply tested every ounce of my customer service patience and exposed the exact kind of entitlement we see on these reality shows.
Oh, no. Lay it on me. What happened?
Okay, so a patient came in 45 minutes late for a 1-hour appointment.
45 minutes? Are you joking?
I wish I was. He casually strolls up to the front desk and demands to still be seen for the full procedure.
No.
Yes. And when I came out and very politely explained the mechanism of time, like that we didn't have the minutes required to complete a complex procedure safely and properly anesthetize him without bleeding into the next patient's slot.
Right, which is just basic logistics.
Exactly. He looked me dead in the eyes, scoffed, and said, "But I pay your salary. You work for me."
No, absolutely not. The visceral rage I just felt.
Yes. I took a deep breath, and in that exact moment, the escape fantasy hit me harder than it ever has.
Oh, the smoothie shack fantasy.
Yes. I vividly pictured myself abandoning healthcare forever. I saw the whole business plan, moving to Costa Rica, opening a beachside smoothie shack.
That sounds incredible right now.
Right. Just blending mangoes and bananas for surfers and board shorts who have no concept of time, no insurance claims, no angry entitled patients, no overhead costs for sterile equipment. Just me, a Vitamix blender, and the ocean breeze.
It's the universal dental fantasy. Honestly, being a dentist is somehow this unholy trinity of healthcare, high-end customer service, and acute emotional crisis management all rolled into one.
It really is.
Like, you are expected to be a precision surgeon, a soothing therapist for people's dental phobias, and a deferential waiter all at the exact same time. It's exhausting.
It is so exhausting.
And that patient's attitude is exactly what we're going to talk about with Luke Broderick later, like this absurd, completely unearned entitlement.
Oh, we are going to drag Luke. What was your low?
My low was pretty similar. Just a totally draining Tuesday where the schedule fell apart, everyone was running late and highly anxious, and I realized I haven't had a lunch break where I actually sat down in a chair without chewing in hyperspeed in like 3 years.
We need the smoothie shack. We really do.
We do.
But, until we secure the funding for our Costa Rican escape, we have dinners with our besties to keep us sane.
It's a debrief for a dinner outing on Wednesday because the vibe was absolutely immaculate and we need to unpack it. Oh, it was exactly what my nervous system required. We went to that new Italian place downtown, the one with the crushing velvet booths, the gold accents, and the ridiculously moody lighting.
Yes, where you literally have to use your iPhone flashlight to read the menu.
Because they prioritize ambiance over basic human visibility.
Exactly. We ordered half the menu. We got the burrata with the hot honey, the truffle arancini. But the absolute star dish that stole the show was that spicy vodka rigatoni.
Oh my gosh, I am still dreaming about it.
It was a religious experience. The pasta was perfectly al dente. The sauce was so rich it coated the noodle perfectly. I am still thinking about the emulsification of that sauce.
Same. I would eat it every day if I could. But let's be real, the food was honestly secondary to the gossip.
Oh, 100%.
The tea was flowing before the sparkling water even hit the table.
Oh, completely. We were already 3 layers deep into dissecting our mutual friend's mysterious new boyfriend.
Right, because the man has absolutely zero digital footprint. None.
And we were analyzing the mechanics of this because it is deeply suspicious. Like, if a man in this decade doesn't even have a LinkedIn, an old tagged Facebook photo, or a dormant Twitter account, he's either in the Federal Witness Protection Program or he's married and aggressively scrubbing his presence.
There is mathematically no in between.
None.
It is a massive red flag. A ghost in the digital machine means he's hiding a double life.
So true. And then, after we saw that mystery, we had the great dessert debate.
Oh yes, the olive oil cake.
Right, we were staring at the dessert menu, looking at a $16 slice of olive oil cake, and we decided to split it. But we sat there debating the underlying psychology of the split.
Like, is splitting dessert a sign of ultimate emotional maturity? Recognizing that we just want to taste, we want to share an experience, and we don't need a massive sugar crash? Or is it just strict financial responsibility? Because dropping $16 on a single slice of cake in this economy is borderline criminal.
I firmly believe it's financial responsibility masking as emotional maturity. We are protecting our wallets and pretending it's for our health.
That is so accurate.
And this perfectly mirrors the exact financial delusions we're about to dissect with the cast of The Valley. Which brings us to the main event.
Finally.
We have talked about our own beautifully chaotic lives, our dental exhaustion, and our dinner table gossip long enough. Let's head into the Valley reunion, where the friendships are hanging by a frayed thread, the outfits are offensive to the eye, and somebody is absolutely about to bring up a text message from 6 months ago to rewrite history.
Let's get into it, because part 1 of this reunion was a really heavy lift. It was a lot to process, just visually and emotionally.
So much to process.
And we have to start where Bravo always starts, which is the fashion police. Because this wasn't just a misstep, it was a series of tragedies, bizarre wigs, and severe mother of the bride vibes.
The disasters.
Yeah.
We need to go all in on the psychology of these reunion looks. because as a collective cast, this was a chaotic, messy, incohesive nightmare.
Literally no cohesion.
Right. When you look at the wide shot of the couch, everyone looked like they belonged at completely different events. There was no unifying theme. It was giving, like, 80s prom mixed with a modern Miami Vice fever dream.
Literally. None of the guys were matching the aesthetic weight of the women. The guys looked like they chose different pastel jackets for a Miami Vice-themed birthday party at a country club.
Yes.
They were just casual, almost flippant in their tailoring. And the women, I mean, they were fighting for their lives in high-concept gowns.
Fighting for their lives is the perfect way to put it. Let's just start with Brittany. We have to analyze what happened here.
Oh, boy. Brittany's spandex nightmare.
I have to just lay this out visually for you before we dissect it. She wore this brown, shiny, metallic spandex dress.
Brown metallic spandex.
Right. It looked like a medieval torture device repurposed by a club promoter. It had bows all the way down the front. And the most egregious, baffling part, it left a perfectly placed, gaping circular hole right over her belly button.
This is where I need to understand the mechanism of celebrity styling. Like, did she actively request to look like a wrapped, melting chocolate bar?
I don't know.
What was the thought process in the fitting room? I know her confidence is soaring right now post-surgery, and I genuinely love that for her. But my analytical brain just cannot comprehend why, out of all the colors and fabrics on Earth, you would choose brown metallic spandex for high-definition national television.
It's a choice.
It reflects the studio lights terribly. It creates shadows where there are none.
Look, as the emotional bestie here, I am going to throw myself on the sword and defend her underlying motivation, even if the execution was, quite frankly, a felony.
All right, let's hear the defense.
She just had a massive mommy makeover. She is feeling herself. She's reclaiming her physical space after escaping a really toxic, soul-crushing marriage. When you come out of a dynamic where you were constantly criticized, you want to wear the loudest, most bodycon thing possible to say, I am here and I look good.
I get that. I really do.
I love that she wants to show it off, but she desperately needs a new stylist. The designer did her so dirty, the belly button hole. It's like she wanted to aggressively prove she had a belly button. It wasn't a peekaboo cut. It was a targeted spotlight on the umbilicus.
It was a crime against fashion, and I refuse to acquit her stylist. But she wasn't the only casualty on that stage. We have to talk about Lacy's tassel catastrophe, because this was a tactical error.
Oh, Lacy. The yellow dress. It looked like she walked through an industrial paper shredder on the way to the soundstage.
It was so bad.
But the real tragedy wasn't just the fringe. It was that her hair perfectly matched the exact blinding yellow tone of the dress.
It was a one-dimensional, flat yellow. A commenter on Reddit perfectly described it as looking like a gallon of bad house paint.
Yes.
That had to be a wig, right? It was giving full, unadulterated Big Bird energy.
A total Big Bird.
Here is the mechanical rule of fashion. If you are going to wear a heavily textured, shredded yellow dress that demands attention, you need contrast or dimension in your hair to break up the visual field.
Yes. You have all this money, Lacy, which, by the way, she aggressively reminded us of all night, and you couldn't get a balayage or a root smudge on that wig.
Apparently not.
It was so jarring. It was a chaotic distraction technique. And then we panned to the rest of the couch. Lala looked beautiful, obviously. I mean, her face card never declines. But she was wearing a dress that looked exactly like a 1998 formal Mother the Bride dress.
It was very stiff, way too rigid and formal for this messy, emotionally unhinged couch.
Right. And then Nia.
Oh, I was profoundly confused by Nia's outfit. It looked like cheap, unfinished fabric.
It really did.
It gave the impression she was attending a destination wedding on a beach, but the tailor just gave up halfway through, forgot to hem the bottom, and refused to structure the bodice. It lacked any architecture.
It was giving, I bought this on Shein an hour before call time.
Yeah.
And Janet's dress was this bizarre chartreuse and cerulean hybrid color. When she stood up, the asymmetrical cut actually looked quite cool and editorial.
True. Standing up, it was fine.
But seated, it did absolutely nothing for her. It bunched up and looked terrible on the monitors.
And this is exactly the mechanism of reunion dressing that rookies miss. When you film a reunion, you have to dress for the biomechanics of sitting down.
Yes.
It does not matter how fabulous the train is, how the backdrops, or how it flows when you walk. You are planted on a low-slung cushion for 10 to 12 hours. If it doesn't look good, folded at a 90-degree angle, it's a total failure. Which brings us to the sole winner of the night, Jasmine.
Jasmine was the only person who understood the assignment. She wore this stunning plum corset dress.
Flawless.
She knew her angles. She knew her color palette. She understood the lighting. She looked like a reality TV star who was there to secure her contract for season 2.
She was the one shining beacon of visual competence on a very distressing stage. But, okay, speaking of distressing incompetence, we need to move from fashion disasters to behavioral disasters. Specifically, the absolute arrogance of Luke Broderick.
Oh, Luke. So Andy Cohen starts asking the obligatory recap questions,
Yeah.
trying to set the baseline for the reunion. And Luke casually drops a shocking confession. He didn't watch a single episode of the season.
Which is infuriating.
He flat out refused to watch it because he, quote, didn't want to relive it.
This is where I lose my mind and demand a structural overhaul of Bravo. Like, this is becoming an epidemic across the network.
It really is.
Jax Taylor does it, Amanda Batula does it on Summer House, Wes Wilson did it. They just skipped their own seasons. Luke skipped it, which means he completely dodged any accountability for his horrific behavior. By not watching, he controls the narrative solely within his own head. He doesn't have to face the objective reality of his actions.
Exactly. Because he didn't watch the edits, he didn't have to answer for those deeply disturbing comments he made about Kristen.
Those comments.
Remember the scene where she was dealing with all her emotional chaos, and he calmly stated he wanted her to get pregnant ASAP so he could lock that version of her away in a coffin forever.
Yes. A truly deranged, misogynistic thing to say to a partner who is struggling.
Totally unhinged.
But because he didn't watch the show, he didn't have to face the music or explain the psychology behind that statement. He just sat there smug, acting like he was above the fray. This is why I am advocating for a massive, non-negotiable rule change on Bravo.
What's the rule change?
They need to add a strict clause to all contracts demanding that these stars watch their seasons before the reunion, with viewing logs to prove it.
I see your point, and logically, yes, they should have to watch.
Yeah.
But I have to push back here.
Okay, push back.
I actually think the Bravo producers love that Luke didn't watch it. I don't think they want a mandatory viewing clause at all.
Why? It ruins the flow of the interrogation.
Because it creates a completely different secondary layer of conflict on the couch. When someone hasn't watched the show, the rest of the cast has to explain objective reality to them in real time.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Right. It forces raw, confused, defensive reactions right there on the stage, rather than rehearsed PR apologies that they worked on with their publicist for 3 weeks. It's like a CEO refusing to read a quarterly loss report before a hostile board meeting. The producers get to film the exact moment the CEO realizes he's entirely screwed. It's a feature of the format, not a bug.
Okay, that is actually a brilliant point. The spontaneous combustion of a narcissist who realizes he's outmatched is great TV.
It really is.
But it still reeks of arrogance. And I have a theory about Luke. I feel like his whole, I'm just a simple Colorado boy, I'm above all this toxic Hollywood drama, is a carefully constructed mask.
Oh, 100%. You don't date Kristen Doubt. Eagerly start a podcast and sign a contract to go on a Bravo spinoff show if you just want to chop wood in silence in Colorado.
Exactly.
He secretly loves the LA reality TV fame and the clout, but he uses this faux country superiority complex as a shield. It allows him to act like he's morally above the exact people he is desperately trying to share a stage with. It's so transparent and exhausting.
He fundamentally believes he's better than everyone in that room. But honestly, if we want to talk about someone who thinks he's better than everyone, we have to talk about the ghost haunting this entire reunion.
Jax Taylor.
Absent physically, yet completely omnipresent in spirit.
He cited mental health reasons for not showing up to the filming, which, fine, we have to respect the boundary of seeking mental health treatment. But the irony is that he heavily dominated every single conversation on that couch without even being in the zip code.
Because he fundamentally cannot help himself. He wasn't there in the flesh, but his digital chaos was orchestrating the entire narrative. We have to dissect the co-parenting app revelation.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Brittany and Jax use a court-approved or therapist-mandated app to communicate strictly about the logistics of their son cruise. And Jax literally weaponized this secure family app to text Brittany, quote, "I just want to come back and take Danny down."
The mechanism of this is what blows my mind. Jax using a co-parenting app to plot reality TV revenge against Danny is like a corrupt politician using a highly secure, classified diplomatic back channel to orchestrate a petty high school cafeteria prank.
It really is.
He is taking a tool explicitly designed for family survival and the protection of a child and weaponizing it for Bravo warfare. It is pure insanity.
It is a level of toxic villainy that belongs in a psychological thriller, and the digital manipulation gets worse. the burner empire.
The burner account.
The cast fully exposed that Jax has multiple burner accounts online. He has his infamous Frank Draymond alias, and it was revealed he supposedly runs his own dedicated Reddit page just to sit there under an anonymous cloak and aggressively trash his own castmates.
Which proves my point about modern reality TV. The show isn't even the show anymore. The show is the digital footprint outside the show.
That is so true.
Tom Schwartz, of all people, the king of avoiding conflict, chimed in to confirm that Jax was aggressively texting Schwartz's new girlfriend, Kiana Carroll. Jax has never even met Kiana in real life, but he's texting her and talking trash about her online. Who has the dopamine receptors or the sheer hours in the day for this?
Someone who currently owes $1.2 million in federal taxes, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the biggest, most devastating financial bombshell of the entire night. Brittany casually drops the information that she is the one actively paying off Jax's $1.2 million tax loan that he took out against their shared house.
My jaw literally unhinged. I yelled at my television screen. Brittany is paying for his life. She is paying off $1 million tax lien to the federal government while he is out here running Reddit burner accounts, plotting the downfall of Danny Bucco and harassing his friends' girlfriends.
I am fiercely protective of Brittany in this scenario because she is carrying an unimaginable burden. But as the analytical bestie, I have to step in here.
Okay, step in.
We really need to talk about her severely broken picker and her financial boundaries, because her financial drain absolutely does not stop at Jax.
No, it doesn't. And this leads us to the revelation that made the entire couch gasp. The 10K fling.
Yeah. Andy Cohen starts pressing Brittany about her brief post-split ex-boyfriend, Brandon Hansen. And the cast is sitting there leaning in, and Brittany admits that during their very short time together, she gave Brandon somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000.
The entire couch was visibly shocked.
Hmm.
Brittany is essentially bankrolling multiple men.
It's wild.
She is carrying a massive Los Angeles mortgage, paying off $1 million tax debt for her toxic ex, and casually handing out 5-figure checks to a rebound guy she dated for 5 minutes. This is why she needs a forensic accountant and a financial advisor, not just a therapist.
She did admit on the couch that she is working with a narcissistic abuse coach to fix her dating picker.
Okay.
And honestly, I feel deep empathy for her. She is a mother escaping a highly toxic, emotionally abusive marriage of over a decade. The mechanism of trauma recovery is messy.
It is.
When you come out of a dynamic where you are constantly controlled and diminished, your normal meter is completely broken. You experience a massive pendulum swing. She has this sudden freedom, and she is desperately grasping at anyone who shows her a shred of baseline kindness, even if it costs her 10 grand. She's buying affection because she was starved of it.
I hear you. I understand the trauma response, and I have empathy for her emotional state. But I have to push back hard on this.
Okay, let's hear it.
She is dangerously gullible with her finances, and empathy doesn't pay the IRS. It is one thing to have a broken emotional picker. It is another to be writing 5-figure checks to a rebound guy when you have a child to protect and a massive lien against your primary residence.
That's a fair point.
The narcissistic abuse coach is great for her emotional boundaries, but someone needs to legally freeze her checking account until she heals.
That is a harsh truth, but it's a necessary one. And you can tell from the reunion that she's just so desperate for a strong support system.
She really is.
She talked about feeling completely isolated during her mommy makeover recovery. She could barely leave the house, her self-esteem was on the floor, she was in physical pain, and she was deeply hurt by an off-camera betrayal from Nia, who just completely vanished as a friend.
Nia did admit it, though, which takes guts. She didn't make excuses.
No, she owned it.
She said she was heavily struggling with her own severe postpartum depression at the time, and just literally did not have the emotional capacity to show up for Brittany's elective surgery recovery.
Yeah.
It was actually a very real, very sad moment of two women just not having the bandwidth to support each other when they both desperately needed a lifeline.
It was a very grounded moment of reality. But you know who wasn't grounded?
Who?
Danny Bucco, who was sitting on the couch next to Nia, looking absolutely terrifying and entirely detached from reality.
Oh my God, the couch goblin. We have to talk about the physical setup first.
Yes, they literally sat Danny on this tall, strangely sunken couch cushion that made his proportions look wildly off.
It made him look tiny next to Nia. It looked like he needed a literal booster seat to reach the coffee table.
It was visually hilarious. But his seating posture wasn't the only weird thing. We have to address the spooky Botox.
Oh my word, the architecture of Danny's face.
What was going on with his facial muscles?
His eyebrow arches were so incredibly exaggerated. He looked like a Pixar villain who was just about to reveal his evil master plan.
Yes.
A commenter literally said he looked like an Easter Island statue or the televangelist Kenneth Copeland.
It was full, unadulterated Kenneth Copeland. The intense, unmoving, hyper-shiny forehead, the aggressively arched brows, it was terrifying.
Totally terrifying.
It looked like he got a deep, plain facelift in the parking lot right before filming started. And there is a psychological mechanism here.
Ooh, what is it?
Heavily Botoxing your face before a reunion is a defensive strategy. If your face is paralyzed, the audience and the other cast members can't read your micro-expressions. You can't show guilt, fear, or anger if your forehead literally cannot wrinkle. It's an emotional shield.
That is such a brilliant read. He paralyzed his face to hide his tells. And his face wasn't moving, but his lies certainly were. We have to call out his aggressive drinking denial.
The absolute audacity of this man. Danny sat on that couch, looked Andy in the eyes, and claimed he's never been as drunk as he was at the season finale party. He tried to paint it as a one-off, isolated incident.
Lies. Complete fabrication.
We all watched the footage of him getting naked wasted at Jasmine's wedding just the week prior. It is objectively documented on film.
On film.
Why lie about a behavioral pattern when the cameras literally captured it in 4K? It just proves he has a serious issue with alcohol if his instinct is to aggressively deny it, despite video evidence.
Exactly. And when you watch them on the couch, you can see how heavily Naya has to work to regulate his emotions. She is constantly managing his image, coaching his responses, smoothing over his erratic behavior.
She is functioning as his PR manager and his emotional regulator.
That dynamic is exhausting to watch, let alone live in. But speaking of exhausting marriages that require a PR spin, let's pivot to Michelle, Dr. Dre, and the sociopathic fake tears of Jessie Lally.
Yes. The transition from Danny's denial to Jesse's manipulation is seamless. Let's start with the massive upgrade. Michelle casually confirms that the rumors swirling in the tabloids are actually true. She is seeing the rap legend, Dr. Dre.
I physically shrieked.
Right.
She met him through a mutual friend, they're getting to know each other, and she very pointedly insists there is no non-disclosure agreement. Good for her. Secure the bag, get off the valley, and upgrade your entire existence.
It is the ultimate reality TV power move. And Jesse's reaction was so incredibly telling. He claims he initially thought the Dr. Dre rumors were generated by AI.
Artificial intelligence. Sir, you're in a profound state of denial if you think ChatGPT coded your ex-wife, a billionaire boyfriend.
So true.
And then, when Jesse realizes he's losing the upper hand, he tries to pull the sympathetic, grieving father card.
The fake tears. I was screaming at the television. Let's break down the mechanics of this because it is textbook manipulation.
Wait for it.
He starts talking about how their daughter, Isabella, had her heart broken by a man referring to Aaron Nosler, Michelle's other ex, who supposedly threw Isabella out of his house. And as Jesse's telling the story, his voice starts to quiver, and he is aggressively wiping his eyes.
He was wiping completely dry eyes.
Not a single tear.
There was not a single tear duct engaged, no redness, no moisture. He was acting like a total sociopath, doing this calculated voice quiver, trying to manufacture a viral emotional moment to make Michelle look like a terrible, negligent mother. It was so transparently performative.
It's a classic reality TV PR tactic. It's called narrative preempting. By crying over his daughter on camera, he's trying to build a protective moral shield around his character.
Wow, narrative preempting.
He knows Michelle is about to drop accusations against him, so he preemptively establishes himself as the grieving, protective father. That way, when Michelle attacks, the audience experiences cognitive dissonance about going after a man who just cried about his kid. It's weaponizing a child for audience sympathy.
That is so dark, but exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
But when the dry tears didn't fully work, Jesse dropped a massive bombshell to deflect entirely. He pivots and accuses Michelle's entire on-camera persona of being completely fake, and he blames Lala Kent.
The Lala coaching allegation.
Jesse claims that while they were all in Mexico, Lala actively pulled Michelle aside and coached her on how to survive reality TV. He alleged that Lala told Michelle she had to hate the rest of the cast and be confrontational in order to flip the audience's perception of her and secure her spot on the show.
Which is a wild accusation to throw out there. And Lala, sitting on the opposite end of the couch, looked completely blindsided.
She really did.
Lala's face was like, I just got here, I am pregnant, why am I suddenly the mastermind of this marriage falling apart? But honestly, it makes logical sense. Michelle was very guarded and quiet early in the season, and then suddenly, after Mexico, she was highly confrontational and producing moments.
See, I don't think Lala is this evil mastermind coaching her to destroy her life. I think Lala was just translating Bravo language for a rookie.
That's fair.
She probably just said, if you don't speak up, you're going to get steamrolled by these people.
Is that coaching, or is it just teaching someone the basic survival skills of the reality TV jungle?
It's survival. And that instinct for survival leads us perfectly into the most unhinged, legally fraught street fight of the season. Lacy versus Michelle.
Oh, the screaming, the cease and desist, the absolute misuse of the word misogyny. Let's recap this mess. Lacy aggressively confronts Michelle on the couch for allegedly screaming at her in the street and sending her threatening text messages saying she was going to ruin her life.
Michelle flatly, calmly denies this.
Yeah.
She looks at Andy and says it never happened at the fabrication.
Right. But then, in real time, several other cast members chime in and say, actually, Michelle, we physically read the texts. You did send them.
Caught in a verifiable lie on camera. But Lacy is refusing to back down, and she is standing by her legal threats. She says she formally sent Michelle a cease and desist letter, and she stands by utilizing the legal system.
Okay, the legal system.
And then Michelle fires back, accusing Lacy of screaming at her on the phone, saying, I will sue you and I will win because I have all the money in the world.
I have all the money in the world. Such a specific, weird, insecure flex. It sounds exactly like a line a producer would feed a rookie villain.
It totally does.
The mechanism of the legal threat in reality TV is so tired. A cease and desist isn't an actual lawsuit. It's just a scary letter written on expensive letterhead meant to intimidate someone into silence. It's a PR weapon, not a legal one.
Exactly.
But the ultimate staggering irony of this entire segment was Lacy attempting to take a stand on modern feminism.
The absolute unchecked hypocrisy. Lacy calls out the entire cast for harboring deep internalized misogyny because they joked about her paying Jesse's bills for the past 6 months.
Lacy, please. You are weaponizing the word misogyny as a buzzword to deflect criticism while you are literally dating Jesse Lally.
Say it louder.
You are dating a man who actively weaponizes his own daughter against his ex-wife to make himself look like the victim. A man who systematically tears down the mother of his child on national television. The misogyny is not coming from the cast's jokes. The misogyny is coming from inside the house.
It is literally in the bed with you, Lacy. You cannot claim the feminist moral high ground when you are bankrolling the villain of the season.
Preach.
It's exactly how reality stars misuse therapy speak. They take words like misogyny, gaslighting, or boundaries, and instead of using them as tools for actual healing, they use them as swords to attack their castmates and deflect from their own bad behavior.
It is deeply manipulative. And speaking of manipulating the moral high ground, let's wrap up this recap section with the most exhausting dynamic on the show. Janet versus Zach, the awkward truce, and the evolution police.
This was so painful to watch. Andy brings up the infamous Halloween party moment where Janet, in a fit of rage, throws a plastic cup at Danny's head. It bounces right off his skull.
Boink. Honestly, it was objectively funny. It lacked any real malice.
It really was funny.
Yeah.
But then Jason, Janet's husband, who has been quietly observing everything all season, finally gets involved.
Right, he finally speaks.
He reveals that he approached Zach off camera at Jasmine's wedding, and Jason completely clocks Zach's strategy. He tells Zach that the only reason he suddenly turned against Janet and started fighting with her was to score brownie points with the audience.
Which is such an analytical, piercing, and fundamentally true read. Jason saw exactly how the mechanism works. Zach looked at Twitter, saw the fans hating Janet, and he decided to ride the wave of public sentiment. It's like these cast members are no longer acting like actual friends with authentic grievances. They are acting like politicians reading poll numbers in swing states. They see the digital sentiment, and they adjust their alliances accordingly to secure stream time. It is totally inauthentic.
It really is. It's performing for the audience rather than resolving actual friendship issues. And then, out of nowhere, Kristen jumps in to defend Zach and attack Janet, and she starts acting incredibly sanctimonious. She appoints herself the moral evolution police.
Kristen Doubt demanding to see growth from Janet is the richest, most absurd thing I have heard all calendar year.
I laughed out loud.
Kristen has been on reality TV for well over a decade. We've watched her for 10 years, and she has shown zero measurable psychological growth. She is the exact same chaotic, boundaryless person she was in 2013 on Vanderpump Rules. You absolutely cannot be the evolution police when your own emotional timeline is stuck in a permanent loop of dysfunction.
Thank you. Why does Kristen demand growth from Janet? Because if Janet is forced to admit she needs to grow or evolve, Kristen automatically gets to be the judge of that growth.
Oh, that's good.
It completely flips the power dynamic of the friendship. She doesn't want Janet to heal. She wants to control the narrative of Janet's apology.
Bingo. It's about power, not evolution. And this exhausting recap concludes with this incredibly tense, forced, physically awkward hug between Zach and Janet.
Yeah, the hug.
They verbally agree to leave the past behind them, but you can practically feel the hatred and resentment radiating off their bodies. And the cherry on top of this fake resolution, Zach actively takes Kristen's side over Brittany regarding the whole Nia guilt-tripping comment.
Right. Kristen flat out lied on the couch, saying she didn't accuse Nia of guilt-tripping Zach. The producers, doing the Lord's work, immediately flash back the cameras, showing the footage where Kristen absolutely did say it.
The producers never miss.
Brittany calls Kristen out for the lie, and Zach, Brittany's supposed best friend, defends Kristen instead. Loyalty means absolutely nothing in the Valley.
Which perfectly transitions us, not just by saying speaking of, but because loyalty and betrayal are the currency of our next segment. It is time for segment 1, Reunion Winner of the Week.
Yes.
We are handing out crowns for the best, worst performances of the night, and we have to vigorously defend our choices. Are you ready for the debate?
I was born ready. Let's start with best read. Who delivered the most devastating, accurate, and undeniable insult of the night?
I am giving this to Jason. Hands down, no contest.
Jason.
No.
Over everyone else.
Yes. Calling out Zach for performative audience pandering at Jasmine's wedding was brilliant. It completely stripped away the fourth wall. He exposed the exact PR machinery of how Zach operates.
Okay, that's fair.
It was surgical, it was undeniably true, and Zach had absolutely no defense because he knew he was caught playing the game. Jason read him for filth, quietly and effectively.
I completely agree with your analysis. Jason is a silent observer, but when he finally speaks, it lands like a bomb. Okay, next up, best dressed. I think we already analyzed the mechanics of this, but let's make it official for the record.
It is Jasmine.
Unanimous.
The plum corset look was flawless. She was the only person on that stage who understood her angles, her coloring, the lighting, and the physical reality of sitting for 10 hours. She looked like a seasoned reality TV star. Everyone else looked like they were going to a bad theme party at a discount banquet hall.
Jasmine takes the crown for visual competence. All right, moving to a crucial category. Most prepared with receipts.
Oh, this has to be Brittany.
100%. Brittany came to that couch ready to effortlessly and systematically expose Jax.
She did not hold back.
She didn't rely on emotion. She brought data. She had the burner accounts, the Reddit pages, the Kiana text logs, and the unhinged co-parenting app screenshots locked and loaded. She didn't stumble over her words. She just calmly fired off the facts. Jax thought he was safe sitting at home, and she completely dismantled his covert digital operation in 3 minutes flat.
She was a tactical sniper. Now for the exact opposite energy, most chaotic energy, who do you have?
This crown goes to Lacy.
Oh, definitely Lacy.
Matching your hair to a shredded yellow dress, throwing around legal cease and desists, claiming you have all the money in the world like a cartoon villain, and crying misogyny while actively funding and dating Jessie Lally. That is a Category 5 tornado of absolute chaos. She was doing way too much for a mid-season guest appearance.
She came in hot, but it lacked any strategic focus. It was just messy noise. And finally, the ultimate title. Person who came out looking the strongest. Did anyone actually survive this couch looking strong?
We can debate this, but I'm settling on Michelle.
I agree with Michelle. She dodged Jesse's incoming bullets beautifully.
She really did.
He tried to utilize narrative preempting, fake tears, and Lala coaching rumors to make her look like a fake, terrible mother. And Michelle just sat there, remarkably unbothered, protecting her internal peace and her new, highly lucrative relationship with Dr. Dre.
The Dre factor is huge.
She upgraded her entire life without breaking a sweat, and she refused to let Jesse pull her down into his emotional mud.
She won the breakup, she secured the bag, and she won the reunion couch. Okay, moving on to segment 2, receipts, timelines, and delusions. We're going to take the biggest, most contested claims from the reunion and label them as verified receipt, selective memory, or complete delusion.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's start with the central conflict, Jack's toxic digital behavior.
Verified receipt, without a shadow of a doubt.
Completely.
The burner accounts, texting Kiana, utilizing the parenting app to issue threats about taking down Danny. All of it was corroborated and backed up by Schwartz and Brittany. The man is a walking toxicity factory, and the receipts are clear, documented, and undeniable.
Absolutely verified by multiple sources.
Yeah.
Okay, next claim. Kristen totally forgetting that she accused Nia of guilt-tripping Zach on camera.
Selective memory. Come on, Kristen.
So selective.
You write it off as just talking fast and not remembering what you said. No. You got caught on camera actively stirring the pot to create a storyline, and now that it's reunion time and you have to face Nia, you suddenly develop convenient temporary amnesia. That is classic, textbook, Bravo selective memory.
Total selective memory. You can't appoint yourself the evolution police if you're still lying about the exact words that came out of your mouth yesterday.
Exactly.
Okay, last one. Luke, thinking he can just skip watching the entire season and walk into the reunion with the moral high ground. Andy, Danny, aggressively denying his own documented drinking habits.
Complete delusion. Both of these men are living in alternate, self-constructed realities.
Truly.
Luke is delusional for thinking the mechanism of accountability disappears just because he closed his eyes to the broadcast. And Danny vehemently denying he was that drunk at the finale when there is 4K video evidence of him being naked, wasted at a wedding the week prior. Delusion. The deep plane Botox has clearly seeped into his prefrontal cortex and impaired his memory.
Complete and utter delusion from the men on that couch. Which brings us to my absolute favorite segment of the night.
Yeah.
Segment 3, the group chat after the reunion.
Oh, this is the best part.
The cameras drop. Andy says, "That's a wrap." They walk to the parking lot, and they get in their separate black SUVs. What are the chaotic, fake texts they are sending each other right now? I'll start.
Do it. Set the scene.
Ping. It's a text from Jesse, sent directly to Lacy. "Babe, that was so emotionally exhausting. Can I borrow your black Amex to buy a post-reunion adaptogen smoothie? The rampant misogyny in that room really drained my bank account and my spirit."
Oh my God, that is chillingly accurate. The weaponized therapy speak mixed with financial dependency.
Right. Okay, your turn.
Okay, here's one. Ping. Into the main full cast group chat, an accidental text from Jax. "Hey guys, Frank Draymond here. Just wanted to say Brittany's dress looked like a cheap chocolate wrapper and Danny has a severe drinking problem." Followed 3 seconds later by, "Oh crap, wrong chat. Please delete. My phone was hacked."
Jax completely doxing his own burner account in the main group chat is exactly the kind of boomer technology failure that would happen.
He would absolutely blame hackers.
Okay, I have another one. Ping. A formal email from Janet to Danny. Subject line. Invoice for damages. Attached is a highly itemized bill for $2.50 for the plastic cup she threw at his head, plus a $500 emotional distress fee for having to sit next to him and look at his paralyzed eyebrows.
Janet would absolutely bypass a text and send a PDF invoice.
She loves paperwork.
And my last one. Ping. Danny frantically texting Naya from the soundstage bathroom before they leave. "Babe, honestly, tell me the absolute truth. Did my forehead look too shiny on the monitors? Did I look like Kenneth Copeland? Please tell me I didn't look like Kenneth Copeland. I have a brand deal pending."
And Naya texts back, "Just breathe, honey. Put your sunglasses on and I'll regulate your emotions in the car on the way home."
It's too real. It's uncomfortably real.
All right, our final segment of the night. Segment 4, what happens next? We need to look into our Bravo crystal ball and make some sociologically backed predictions for the fallout of this reunion. First prediction. Which friendship can actually recover from this mess?
If we look at the psychology of the cast, I predict that Brittany and Zach will eventually patch things up.
Really? You think so?
Yeah. The tension is high right now because Zach strategically took Kristen's side to survive the couch. But fundamentally, Brittany's trauma response makes her way too forgiving of bad behavior, and Zach is a massive people pleaser who needs an alliance. They will have one tearful, highly photographed lunch at SCR in West Hollywood, post a selfie, and be totally fine by episode 1 of next season.
I agree with that mechanism. Brittany doesn't hold a grudge well enough to stay mad, and Zach needs her fan base. Okay, who will still be fighting next season?
Kristen and Janet.
Oh, absolutely.
They're locked into a lifelong generational blood feud. They're both intense scorekeepers. They will constantly keep a mental tally of perceived slights, unreturned text messages, and dirty looks at group dinners. They will never be true, vulnerable friends again. It will just be a tense Cold War of passive aggression until the show eventually gets canceled.
100%. It's an apocalyptic feud based on a battle for alpha status. Prediction 3. Which couple is secretly in deep trouble despite their image?
Danny and Nia.
You think? They seem so solid.
I know they play the perfect, wholesome, beautiful family for the cameras, but they are masking deep, systemic issues. You can clearly see it in how Nia constantly has to step in to regulate his erratic emotions, cover for his outbursts, and mitigate the fallout from his drinking. That kind of enabler-manager dynamic is exhausting for a wife, and resentment builds incredibly fast when you feel like you're raising your husband. The cracks in the foundation are showing.
The cracks are definitely showing. The immense pressure of maintaining that perfect image is going to break them.
Okay, cast member most likely to start a podcast after the reunion.
Lacy. It is a biological inevitability.
It really is.
She will launch a podcast probably titled something obnoxious like Cease and Desist, where she talks about generational wealth, setting legal boundaries, and the perils of dating misunderstood reality stars. She will have Jesse on as her very first guest, and they will just spend an hour talking about how deeply misunderstood their intellect is by the general public.
I would bet my next dental paycheck on that happening. And finally, give me a completely ridiculous prediction that somehow feels entirely plausible in this specific universe.
Okay, here it is. Jax Taylor attempts to legally change his name to Frank Draymond to avoid his $1.2 million federal tax debt.
Oh my gosh.
He walks into a Los Angeles courthouse wearing a fake mustache and a baseball cap, hands over the paperwork, and genuinely deeply believes that the IRS won't be able to track his assets if his driver's license says Frank. The terrifying part of that prediction is that I can vividly visualize that happening tomorrow. Jax, in a terrible disguise, trying to outsmart the federal government with a Reddit alias. It is the perfect, absurd ending to this recap.
It really is. We have survived the fashion disasters, the burner accounts, the spooky Botox, and the weaponized legal jargon.
We made it through. And, as you go about your week, I want to leave you with this final thought. Think about the evolution police concept we discussed with Kristen and Janet.
Right, the evolution police.
How often in our own lives, in our own group chats, do we demand growth or apologies from our friends? Are we demanding that evolution because we genuinely want them to heal and be better people? Or are we demanding it because it puts us in the power position of being the judge, allowing us to control the narrative of the relationship?
That is deep.
Reality TV is just a funhouse mirror reflecting the toxic dynamics of our own friendships. Take a hard look at your group chat this week and ask yourself, who's playing the evolution police? But anyway, we want to hear from you.
Yes, let us know.
What was the high and low of your work week? Which reunion moment had you yelling at the TV? And what's the absolute best dinner you've had recently?
Seriously, share all the details with us.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us, drinking spicy margaritas, and surviving the chaos of adulthood and Bravo together. Remind the Snark Squad to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share this with another Bravo-loving babe. Stay messy, stay fabulous, and we'll see you on the Snark side.